much. Hello everyone, this is Rick with XYZ Modeling and Graphics. Today we're going to be looking at month number 17 and we'll be going over viewer comments and project submissions. So let's go ahead and take a look at issues 65 through 68, beginning with issue number 65. Thank you everybody for joining me today. Right now, let's go ahead and jump straight to the build. We're going to open up our packaging and make sure that all our parts and pieces are present and accounted for as usual. Now it's nice to be working on something other than a wing. Today we're looking at the rear cockpit bulkhead, and there are just a couple of main pieces here: the bulkhead itself and what the magazine calls the horizontal support, and 3 XW05 screws that are used to attach that horizontal support to the bulkhead itself. So nothing too terribly difficult in this stage. So just twist those right on in there, and that pretty much wraps up stage number 65. And here we are with the finished product. Now, if you thought issue number 65 went fast, wait till you get a load of issue 66. So what we have here is the rear fuselage base, which a lot of our fuselage components will eventually attach to, including our battery pack, which will hold 4 AAA batteries at 1.5 volts each, making this a 6 volt DC power supply, which will run the lights and the motors that open up the S-foils. So we're not even going to open up this packaging. We're just going to go ahead and keep it safely tucked away until we start assembling the major components of the fuselage. So here we go with issue number 67. And as I was promised earlier, we are going to be building a remote control. And this one is not too terribly difficult. The main construction here is actually the contacts for the batteries. The IR transmitter is built into the board, so once you've got the battery contacts in place, it's a matter of just screwing the whole board on, so not too terribly difficult. So while we're doing this, I think now would be a good time to go over some comments, and I think I'm a little bit behind. I'm going to go back as far as about 3 weeks ago, so forgive me if I missed anybody. But our first comment is from Trout and Chard, and he says, from about 3 weeks ago, he says, loving the proposed paint job. Interesting that the cockpit is not going to be the showpiece of the basic kit. I would have expected it to be more dynamic. Are we getting a movable and lit targeting computer? Mind you, the Falcon was pretty basic cockpit wise, and I haven't finished that yet due to the additions I'm making. Oh, so you must be still working on it. Oh, I didn't realize. Still having problems getting my issues. D'Agostino are not answering any customer service emails, bar the standard, "We have received your blah blah blah" reply. And the one time I did get through on the phone has made no difference. Sorry. Looking forward to the next video. Great stuff. Wow. Okay. There's a lot to unpack there. So thanks for the compliment on the paint job. As if you saw my last video, you saw that I've began that, and I really appreciate it. As far as the cockpit, yeah, you would think with the scale of this model that you would have a little bit more of a dynamic cockpit, but that is not the case in in this situation. So it is up to us to make that a little bit better. So I'll definitely be doing that. And if you're asking me if I'm going to be doing a movable and targeting computer or lit up targeting computer, I might go with the lit up targeting computer, but I don't think I'm going to make it movable. The pieces are too small. I'm not sure how I would accomplish that, but I'll give that a try. You said that the Falcon was pretty basic cockpit wise, and yeah, you are right. It's just backlit. There wasn't anything there. If you wanted any kind of lighting sequences or anything like that, you're going to have to do it yourself. So if you're doing that, that's great, and I would love to see the finished product. So sorry you're having difficulties with customer service. I've had the same issues myself. You know, I'll send them an email and it'll be a couple 3 weeks before they even reply to me. So that's pretty much par for the course when it comes to DeAugustini customer service. So, but thanks for watching, and I hope to hear from you again soon. The next comment is from Simon Vaughn. Simon says, looking good. I'm glad you're going down the route of fiber optics so that I can see how to do it. I'm a complete novice, so I would love to see a step-by-step approach of how-to videos. Keep up the great work, sir. Well, thank you, Simon. When I get to the fiber optics, I will definitely focus on that and show you the way I do this. And I've only done a couple of my own before that wasn't already a pre-built kit. So this is going to be one of the few times that I've done a custom fiber optic job. But I'll show you what I know, and it's certainly not the industry standard, but it is the Patrick the Hut standard. So I hope you get something out of it. But thanks, Simon. I appreciate it. All right, let's check in with the build here. I am right now attaching the circuit board of the remote control to the outer casing, and it's just a couple screws. Nothing too exciting. Now the main board that you see still in the packaging, that has nothing to do with what we're doing here with the remote control. That is going to be the main connection board for the entire ship, and that is just going to remain in that packaging until we are ready to put that into place. But that does not happen in this month's issue. So be sure to store that safely away until we finally are able to connect it to the fuselage. So next we're putting the second half of the casing together, and that secures together or closes with a single screw. And at this point we will not be placing batteries into the remote control, but at some point we will be able to test this out. And you could test it out now if you found a couple batteries and held a camera up to the IR diode on the front. You would be able to see whether or not that thing is flashing when you press the control buttons. I don't know if any of you ever tried that before, but if you hold your camera up and look through the view or the digital view display, you should see the IR diode flashing, which will confirm that it is working. But that's it for issue number 67. All right, so final issue for month number 17, issue number 68. In this issue, we'll be constructing the electric motor and gearbox. which is a little bit more complex than the remote control. We'll be assembling the main gearbox that will open and close the S-foil wings. And we've got 6 different we've got 6 of the same size gears, reduction gears, a single intermediate gear, and a single large drive gear. And we've got 3 thin spindles and 1 thick spindle, which sort of act as axles for these gears. And then a single driving pinion. So this was actually a pretty fun assembly. If anybody out there is into mechanical engineering, this is the epitome of mechanical engineering. And the gearbox is actually a lot of fun to put together, so I think you guys will have a good time with it. I know I did. Just follow the instructions carefully. It's pretty straightforward. However, it's a certain amount of satisfaction putting something like this together. So just follow the directions and you shouldn't have any issues here. They just step by step slide these things into place, and before you know it, it'll be completed. So I do want to finish up my comments before we close this video. I did get a comment on my last video from a gentleman, some of the comedian Canadian or something like that, but I'm not seeing his screen name anymore, so I'm not sure what's going on. But his comment is still there. He says, amazing content. It was really entertaining, and I really appreciate that. I know a lot of you are not going anywhere near the direction I'm going with the paint job, but I was hoping that by sharing some of the techniques I use for painting, that it would apply to what you may be doing with your models. So I hope that it was entertaining or informative. Stencil building or stencil design and manufacturing, and it's you know applies no matter what you're trying to do, with these models. So if you're doing custom painting, you're certainly going to find a usefulness to the stencil design. And so anyway, thank you, sir. I appreciate the compliment there. The next comment is from my good buddy Larry Goodnight. Larry says, looking good, Rick. Sorry I haven't responded in some time, but have been working more than normal. Now that I'm in lockdown, so to speak, we'll be getting back to the projects at home. Hope all at your home are doing well, and we'll try to get some pics of my projects off to you soon. Take care, and mahalo for the update on your build. Well, mahalo to you, Larry. I did reply to your message here, but I thought I'd go ahead and mention you again. I do appreciate it, and yeah, I know we're in unusual times right now, and I've also been on lockdown these past few days, working from home instead of or telecommuting, as they like to say. But we're hanging in there, and I appreciate it, and I hope your family's doing well. Especially, I'm looking forward to seeing some of your projects, and if there's anything good that's come out of this whole coronavirus thing, it's that um, we have time to spend on our hobbies at home, and I actually am looking forward to that. So thanks, Larry. I appreciate it. All right. Final comment for this month is from my other good buddy, Martin Futter. Hey, Martin. He says, nice to see you back on track. The vinyl cutter is a wonderful little bit of kit. Now I know who to contact for some custom jobs. In regards to your nose weathering, I've seen other modelers use a toothbrush to rub off. Could be help in the future. Looking forward to some more, or to some more soon. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, you know, as far as being back on track, I never really slowed down. I had to wait, obviously, for my next month's kit to come in, or month 17. So that kind of held me back a little bit. But I have been working on my painting, and that's been keeping me occupied. But yeah, the vinyl cutter, of course, too. I was also waiting for that to come in. That was something that I ordered recently, so still has that brand new shine to it. But anyway, yeah, as far as custom jobs, send. I'm willing to work with anybody on that. So if anybody has something that they'd like to have worked on, just contact me through my XYZ Modeling and Graphics email, and we can work something out. So, yeah, let me know, Martin. Thanks, man. Let's see. We are getting down to the last little bit of this issue. We are applying the driving pinion to the motor shaft. And you got to apply a little bit of force to get that thing on there. And it's supposed to be a tight fit because that is the main gear that's driving that entire assembly. So that thing has to be on there nice and firm. Next, you slip that into the gearbox, and you might have to make a little bit of an adjustment to make sure that the teeth of that driving pinion actually slip into the gears that are intended to be driven by that pinion. But that's a very easy adjustment to make. So it's just use your thumb, roll that gear a little bit, and it'll slip right in there. Next is to connect the motor mount, which is a more or less a protection or guard for the motor itself. And I would think that it's protecting the solder joints and capacitors that are visible on the top of the motor. And just be sure when you're handling the motor that you're careful not to bump those wires that are connecting to those joints, because that would break off pretty easily. But that pretty much wraps up this issue. This one was fun. I really enjoyed this one.